Hey, welcome everyone to another episode of the Cash Flow on the Fly podcast. We have Nir on the show today. Nir is a real estate investor. He has an awesome story. He started as a W-2 employee. He had a job in the tech industry and he transitioned over to real estate investing, doing wholesaling and flipping. And after experiencing a roller coaster of uh, as a lifestyle, as an entrepreneur. He then became a multifamily real estate syndicator, and we are pretty excited to have him deep dive into his journey through becoming a real estate syndicator and everything that he's experienced through his lifestyle. Hopefully, we can pick up a couple nuggets here and there so that we don't make the same mistakes. So we appreciate you, Nir, going through those hard knocks and coming on the show to tell us about it.
Yeah, sure. Thanks for having me, Saj.
Dude, that's awesome. So you are based in Omaha?
Actually, I live in Denver, Colorado.
You live in Denver.
Yes. But I bought a couple of small apartments in Omaha, Nebraska. And I guess we can get into that in just a bit. But those
Yeah,
are
I
my
love to hear
primary.
about that.
Yeah.
So yeah, absolutely. So tell us about your story, Nir.
Yeah, sure. I've been in tech for about 20 years. I've been on the engineering side and the architecture side. And so I'm more engineered minded. But about 15 years into my career, I pretty much hit the ceiling in terms of pay. And I was what 40 at the time, and I'm looking at all these older engineers that I'm working with who are waiting till they're 65 to retire. And I was looking at the 250,000 I had in my 401k, and I was thinking, wow, this is not gonna do it for me. So I'd always wanted to be in real estate. I had some sort of affinity for it. I can't tell you exactly why. Uh, and and then yeah, then so I went to my first real estate association back in 2016, and I was going there with the idea, oh, I want to be, I want to rent and hold, or I want to buy and hold rental houses. But when I get to the RIA, not one person is talking about commercial real estate or anything like that. It's all about flipping. So I talked to the host after the RIA, and I said, why do I need to flip? Why can't I just go directly into buy and holds? And basically his answer was, oh well, you need cash to buy those things. And so at that point, I did decide to look at that sexy industry of flipping houses, and oh wow, I can make $40,000 on a flip, that kind of stuff. So there was some transitions in my professional life in terms of the company bought us out. I worked for a small company, and then the corporate company came in. And I'm not very good in the corporate environment. So I lasted about 2.5 years. And that's when I decided, okay, I'm going to go out consulting on my own half time. And then I really want to learn this investing piece. So that was kind of the jump from the W-2 to entrepreneurship. And I'll tell you what, I had no idea. I had no idea what I was doing. And I had never heard of a mentor or coach. So I really cut my teeth on it
Wow.
myself.
So you went straight into it. What was the first step? So you go to this RIA, right? This guy tells you, wait, you got to start doing the fix and flips to get some cash so that you can do the buy and holds. What's your next step after that? How did you go from hearing this to actually taking action?
Yeah, that's a great question. So for about 4 months, I just got on Bigger Pockets, found that, and just ingested so many podcasts, and just went down the whole real estate rabbit hole, and just loved it. And then 4 months later, I had a friend who's a general contractor who was actually doing work on my house. And I said, hey, have you ever done a fix and flip? And he said he had. And I said, well, do you want to partner up on one? And it actually ended up being a no money down deal for me, because I just brought the credit and he brought the down payment and then the construction piece of it.
Tell me about that deal. How did you find it? And What was the outcome?
Yeah, so I got that one through a wholesaler. Okay,
Okay.
and we went over time and over budget on it. Like that's been my experience for a while. My GC is good, but I don't know if he's cut out for working in that flip environment where it's just it's not custom. It's just like burn and turn. So anyways, what happened on that one, we actually did make a little bit of money. But the only reason we did it because the Denver market was hot at that time. So we put probably over $100,000 in construction on it. It's a $400,000 house, and to only make 16,000 was obviously not worth it, right?
How long?
Took longer than it should, but it was like 6 months.
Okay. Yeah. That's from you buying it to selling it to the end buyer, or just to put it on the market?
That was selling it to the end buyer.
Okay.
So it probably would have taken longer had the market not been that hot.
Wow.
Well, yeah. So we did make some money there, but I realized real quick that there was not much cushion in that I needed to go find the deals.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, because we needed that cushion that the wholesaler was taking.
Yeah.
So that was the lesson learned from that one, I guess you would say. Go find the deals yourself.
Yeah. So then, did you ever get into actually wholesaling? Like you went out and started finding deals yourself, or because you did a couple more flips, right?
Yeah. So we did in Denver. I did 3 more flips that year. One of them turned out really well, and was a home run. Everything else was definitely a struggle still, and that's when I realized, wow, this construction piece just stresses me out so much, and I don't have the time to do it because I still have my full-time job. So I joined a mastermind called the Deal Finders Academy. And that's exactly what they talk about. What are the strategies for finding deals? So I really went down that marketing rabbit hole specifically to real estate. So I learned about direct to seller marketing in terms of mail, SMS, ringless voicemail. So I've really sharpened those skills around marketing. And those are the skills that have paid off, especially when it's hard to find deals in this market.
Mm-hmm.
So I did my first campaign in the same neighborhood. We were flipping a house, and I had 2 people answer. It was basically mailed to every single door in that neighborhood that I wanted. And 2 people called. One of them returned my call. Guy had, these are older houses right in downtown, really hot area, and you can imagine these houses are 100 years old. I go talk to the guy. He actually has no running water, he just goes to the YMCA to go to the bathroom and take showers. And anyways, I was able to get that one under contract, and my first wholesale I made $80,000 on.
Wow. Just from assigning it, or like just from wholesale?
I did a double close on that one. Yeah. But in Denver, I did a double close, but that was interesting. I actually sold it to the wholesaler who sold me one of the other properties, the one I did real good on. So he actually made another $20,000. So there was $100,000 spread on that.
Wow.
I said, wow, this is easy.
It's better than the 16,000 you made on the first flip and the 6 months you spent on it, right?
Yeah, exactly. So the risk, I only owned the property for 30 minutes, really.
Right.
So yes, it was. I looked at it as a way less risk there as well.
And then what happened from there? Did you continue wholesaling, or you kind of continue doing a hybrid between flipping and wholesaling?
Yes, exactly. But at that point, I left the Denver market because back in 27, this is a year later, 2017, 2018, things just kept getting hotter and harder. And we had wholesalers out there spending 20 to 30,000 a month. I can't compete with that. So I'm just a small little guy and doing this after hours, while I'm at work or whatnot. So, and I guess I should say, because I was working so hard on that it affected my family, right? So when I did sell that wholesale, I did take the family to Hawaii for 10 days. I was like, you guys deserve it. You guys have to my shit. So, but yeah, Denver was getting super competitive, and I had some family out in Omaha, Nebraska. And when I would go visit, I would look around and see the downtown area, and then very much industrial. And then you got the West Omaha, which was very similar to the outskirts of Denver. The only thing that was missing was the mountains, but the cost of living was about a third, right? And I went into that market as a smaller secondary market, and I was thinking, okay, maybe I have some strategies that might work well here in Omaha yet. So at that point, not many people in Omaha were wholesaling or understanding the techniques to go ahead out there and market the latest and greatest techniques.
So you were like the first one to break the floor and in Omaha with trying to.
I definitely would not say I broke it. There's amazing investors there, but just like anything in real estate, the techniques, they change, but they spread like wildfire. So you really have to, you got to capitalize while you're ahead of the herd, type of thing.
Love it. So then, you did a couple more flips in Omaha, right? And
yeah. So go ahead.
Yeah. So tell me about that.
Yeah. So I partnered up with the family member out there in Omaha, and they were supposed to be the boots on the ground. I said, let's go ahead and try the fixing thing. Once again, we did 4 or 5 houses that just didn't get done on time or on budget. And that's because we were inexperienced and we don't have that network, right, of contractors, stuff that takes years to build. And coming from the IT world, when I'm talking to a GC, I just thought, oh, well, anybody. I mean, if you're a GC, you can build stuff, right? But there's obviously people who are better than others, people who actually show up, people who are honest versus not honest. So that was tough. And, lesson learned on that is definitely don't bring someone on your team who's at the same level as you, or wants to do, or has the same skills as you, right? You really want to work with somebody who's smarter with you, right? So when you start out, make sure you're reaching up. When you get up to the top, then you can reach down and help people. But really, that was a huge lesson learned for me. And then the last house I did in Omaha that really just pushed me out of fixing was we had a Great Lake house. But that year in 2019, we had what was called the bomb cyclone in Colorado and Omaha. And basically it snowed for 24 hours and then it rained for 24 hours. And in Omaha, the ground had been frozen that winter from December to March. So as the snow was melting, the rain was coming down, the ground could not absorb the massive amount of water. And I have a video, the house is on the market, but it's a lake house. So it's kind of just sitting there. And I have the security cameras and I'm just watching the South Platte River is just adjacent to this little levee lake. And the water just keeps going up my seawall and then up my retaining wall. And then boom, boom, boom. Everything cuts out, security cuts out. When I finally get a true picture, the house that was just remodeled, we put $100K into it. was 4 feet. The first 4 feet of the first floor was underwater.
Wow.
So that's another lesson learned. Don't do very unique properties. Do something that you know. But there's a whole story behind that one that kind of intrigued me to buy it. But yes. So then I said, okay, forget this. I'm just gonna find the deals and then sell them to investors, and that way I can actually do the business myself. I just didn't have any partners that really worked out for me. So that was a tough go for me.
Okay, perfect. So then you from there you said I'm just gonna do wholesaling.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I was done with the risk. I actually had raised 150,000 to do some of these single family homes, and I gave my partners back their money as soon as we were done. And said, I'm not going to ask you for any more money on the single family homes. It's just too risky, and plus you just have no control. It's so transaction based that it's not going to give me the lifestyle that I was looking for. But anyways, I felt like I knew about real estate syndication right around that time. I had picked up a book from Michael Blanc, and I pretty much was following it like my blueprint. He had an underwriting tool called the syndicated deal analyzer, and I just went down that rabbit hole. But I had created these skills in marketing and wholesaling that I wasn't ready to give it up. So I went down that path, and I went hard and building my wholesaling business. And you got to have systems in place. Like I said, it's high transaction. You're trying to do anywhere from 4 deals to 10 deals a month type of thing.
So you transitioned over to syndications. You were reading Michael Blank's guide, and you were following the footprint. You had already developed the skills in marketing that you were not ready to give up, and I'm assuming you wanted to use those skills into multifamily. Is that kind of?
Well, basically, I decided to hold off on multifamily and just go ahead down the route of building my business and
In wholesaling.
In wholesale,
single family.
Yeah. So I put multifamily on hold, and so then about 3 years into it, it's starting to hum. I'm ready. All the systems are in place, ready to put the pedal to the metal, and then COVID hit, and my transactions just stopped. And being a high earner in tech, it's tough for me to stay in the wholesaling business without those transactions. So I had to go back to work last year, this time last year, 2021. But the good thing is in 2021, I did pivot to multifamily. I took some of those marketing skills, and I found a couple of sellers that were willing to sell in Omaha, Nebraska. So the same month I went back to work, closed on a 14 unit, and then a couple months later was a 9 unit.
Wow, nice. That's awesome. Let me bring it back a little bit because I must have missed the timeline. So because you went back to work last year at this time, right? So when did you leave work?
So I did leave work probably after that first year of flipping. So in 2017, mid 2017 is when I left, and then I started doing consulting with past customers on specific projects, right? But I could control my schedule and work about 20 hours a week, and then do another 60 or 80 on my real estate. But at that point, you're somewhat eating into your savings at that point, and that was just not a smart decision for me. I tried to just make it work because I somewhat had to leave the company. It was a new company. It was different, so I decided to jump.
Got it. So 2017, you leave. You give it a shot. Say if you went back to work in 2021, that means you went 4 years doing like the consulting, and then the majority of your time is spent in real estate, doing flipping, wholesaling.
I did have to go back to another job in between there for about 12, 14 months. And then I just had a lot of other personal stuff going on in my life with the separation. So, you know, these things, it just was, I would just say it was just a tough time in life. But I got to tell you that entrepreneur roller coaster I was not ready for that. That is, you better be strong to be able to handle that, the ups and downs of being able to either feed your family or, you know, not.
Right. Looking back, what we'll dig into, I'm pretty excited to go into the syndication route and all your experiences so far. But before going there, what would have you done differently if you could start again from think back to the moment that you were with that guy on that meetup, knowing what you know now? If you were at that meetup with that guy that said fixing and flip is the only way to go in, and knowing what you know now, what would have you done differently?
I always tell myself or people that if I could talk to myself in that same scenario 6 years ago, I would say, hey, single family home is thinking small. And secondly, you have a career that you like to do. I actually like solving problems around technology. So I actually like what I do, you know, whether you're a vet or you're a dentist or an artist and you just love what you do, you have the passion for it. It's nice. You don't have to leave your job, you know, to get into real estate. So I basically would tell myself, listen, you can become a passive investor. So take that money in your 401k or whatever you have outside of your 401k, some savings, and go into deals passively. It's not easy to do. You still might run across some shysters and that kind of stuff, but you have to do your due diligence. But you can continue doing your job and start seeing returns that are double than what you might get in the stock market. But once someone talked to me about cash flow, that's where my whole mind changed. But yes, I would definitely say become an LP. You have limited liability, right? And you also have limited control, but at the same time, you're not the expert. You got to get the experts on your team. So hands down, what I would say to working professionals is try to get into it as a limited partner. And if you feel like, hey, I would like to do this as a job, you get to the point where you can replace your income, your active income with that passive income, and then you can do whatever you want. And most syndicators like myself or you, we're always willing to share that information on how to become active and kind of help them bridge that gap. Although most people like to stay passive and be with their family and, you know, do the things that cash flow allows you to do. So,
yep. Yeah, I love it. Yeah, a lot of people approach me on that regarding active, and I sort of give them information on both. Right, this is how it is being passive. This is how it is being active, and once they find out, and as you might know, that when you're on the active side, there's really not much cash flow throughout the duration of the project. Like you get the you know, a little bit of upfront, but then there's really not much going on until the deal sells, because they're very profiting as an active investor in syndications is very depending on performing well in the deal for the investors, right? Then every investor on the LP side needs to get paid first before on the active side we start getting any profits. So once they hear that, they're like, well, isn't it better to be an LP then? And I'm like, yeah, it is really nice to be an LP. I invest in all of the deals as an LP, even though I'm also on the GP side. I'm in the deals as an LP, so I can get cash flow and the benefits of the deal itself, you know, as a passive investor. Just because, yes, it is very good to be an LP. Going into the syndication experience now. So you buy the 14 unit and you buy a 9 unit, and these two are syndication deals?
The JV partners, but basically I put the partnership, I brought the deal and I put the deal together. So I have my sweat equity of every door. And then we have an asset manager who lives in Omaha. He's actually a property manager. And then we have the money guy, and he lives in Arizona. He's got a daughter in Omaha, and we just kind of came together and put it together, and we want to do more. So in February, I started looking at the two apartments we acquired, and I was like, okay, maybe this thing's really going to work. But I want to scale, right? I want to go bigger. And I knew from cutting my teeth on my own business, like, I'm not doing this again. There are mentors, there are coaches who can save you, shortcut the amount of time it takes to build up your own business. And so I joined Raise Masters along with you. I'm not sure exactly when you joined, but love the shirt. And it gave me so much confidence to join a mastermind like that with such heavy hitters, and knowing, wow, Nir, you don't have to do everything. You don't have to go find the deal. You don't have to underwrite it. You don't have to be at risk. And not only that, it's hard to find two deals in the same market, right? So, the inner kind of going back and being in each other's deals, there's a lot of vetting going on. And so it's just a great community to be a part of, and being able to see deals just flowing through there. In 6 years of my being in single family, the hardest thing was to find a deal, and then to see them flowing through there is very exciting. And then to know that, people are getting, the LPs are investing in these alternative investments. And, once we are able to break it down to a lot of the investors, they're not used to it. They're used to the stock market. And then we start talking about cash flow and compound interest and being backed by an asset. But the whole idea of investing in something that cash flows, like real estate or notes or anything that kind of spits off that cash, there's something in people's brain that goes, oh, wow, I can have another stream of income.
Right.
Yeah. And then also, my salary is the same it was 7 years ago. It hasn't necessarily progressed as fast as inflation. So out of just COVID too, I really just need to bring in other sources of income. And if I don't want to be in IT forever, which I can't see myself being in there for another 20 years, and that's the idea, is secure your future and get to the point where money is not really the deciding factor of what you want to do in life.
Yeah, I love it, and I love what you touched there. That we have similar backgrounds as far as the wholesaling business. And when I went into multifamily as well, I said I don't want to do any more of the finding the deals. I don't want to be doing any more of the operations of, because I've done flips as well, and there's such a headache. And I said I don't want to be involved in doing like the renovations of the units. I want to partner up with somebody that is excellent at doing that, and they love doing that, and I just want to come in with a piece of the puzzle, which is the capital raising side. And that's something that I had never, I had raised capital for wholesale, like in just flips in the past. So I said, this is something that I haven't done too in depth as much as it is required to be successful in syndication. So this is something I want to expand on. I want to go and build my skills in capital raising. So that's why I went down that path instead of doing something that I had already been doing. It sounds like it's similar for you, right?
Yeah. And how long were you in the business before you actually heard about real estate syndications? I mean, did you know it early? Did you know much about real estate syndications?
No. So
that's houses.
No, that's
was it like you had a choice? Oh, should I flip or should I, be a limited partner?
Yeah, no, I had no idea. And actually, I always wanted to be multifamily, but I thought I will see those multifamily buildings, and I thought I needed to come up with like a couple $1 million down payment to buy one of those. I had no idea that I could just partner up and like and be able to go into a syndication and buy one of those buildings. I didn't even know they were owned via syndications. I had no idea what this was. Had I known that, and had I known that I did not have to go into single family, kind of like you, I would have just gone straight to multifamily.
It's becoming more popular, but it is definitely in 2016 when I started, it was, I don't remember anyone talking about it, but I know right around 2016 it started taking off. The modern era of real estate syndication just really came about during the 2008 recession because the capital market seized and there were so many good deals out there. Operators needed money, right? And they started going to private placements, private money. And it just seems like it's a great alternative. That's, SEC regulated.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. I love it. And I don't really know what makes even today. In my opinion, is probably just that the fact that it's easier for people to think of a single family house just because most people own one. I don't want to say most people own one, but it's sort of like the path, right? People will own a house eventually at some point. So thinking in terms of a single family home, flipping a home is not too far apart in their mindset as to what they're capable of. But once they have, if they're in a single family home mindset, to think of owning a 100 unit apartment complex is just too far apart, right? It's just the gap there is just too great for them to even think that that's possible. And I think that's probably, in my opinion, the biggest different the reason why there's not that many people out there that know that they can do that.
When I talk real estate syndication, when people ask me what I do, I say I'm a real estate syndicator. You could just see they have no idea what I'm talking about. So I just go in and it's as easy as, hey, I pool investor money and we go buy large commercial assets that cash flow. And it's techniques that are just actually so simple. I'm just blown away that they're just not general knowledge, right? Even in school that it's not taught.
Right.
These techniques we've talked about, they're elementary, right? Once you understand the terminology, and the basic targets, criteria of what a good investment is. It's not too tough, right?
Right. Nir, is there a deal that you're currently working on or that you're about to put together? What you got going on?
Yeah, so I'm doing deals between 3 million and 100 million. It seems like some of the niche stuff like RV park resorts or mobile home parks are reaching some of the highest yields at this point in time. And as those are cash flowing, definitely recession proof. The faster you get your money back, typically the less risk in that investment. So right now I'm trying to spread the gospel. At the same time, I'm still trying to pick up a couple of smaller apartments in Omaha, continue with that team, but looking to join, I'm talking with operators within the group across different parts of the country, across different asset classes. But at this point, trying to spread the word and trying to have as many conversations with investors about, hey, do you have any questions about real estate syndication? What can I tell you? And how can I talk you into skipping the flip?
Yeah, I love it. I love it. And what I like is that for people that are hearing this, if you go and invest with someone like Nir, they're raising capital to invest in syndications. It's important for them to know that you're not just raising capital for the sake of raising capital and putting it in a deal, right? You're doing, like you said, you're talking to operators, you're doing your research, you're doing your due diligence. So by the time that you put a deal out there, that means already you vetted the deal, you believe in the deal, and now investors can feel confident putting their money with you and into that project.
That's it's kind of ironic because I'm an active passive investor, right? But yes, that's what the passive investor gets to do. They get to leverage my relationship and my relationships and also my time, right? They're working while I'm out there, talking with other operators and really getting ready for the next deal that matches our investors' investment criteria. So at this point, I guess you would call it building the list of investors. I'd love to get to the point where we have 100 of us going into a couple of different opportunities, a quarter type of thing. And I like to create a relationship with my investors. Right now, I'm in this not just for to make a living, but also just the people and the partnerships and the connections you make in this industry. And it seems like, I connect well with people who are adventurous, love to travel. I'm a snowboarder, mountain biker, surfer. So, anything around that stuff, we can always talk about that, and we could talk about real estate. So, yeah, that's where I'm at, just trying to find those people who want to move forward for the next decade and build our wealth together, because we do get further faster together, for sure.
Dude, I was just about to point that out since the beginning of the show, when you're telling your story, that I could tell that you understand the collaboration concept very well, because it seems like you seek out partnerships to go farther, faster, and to go faster and go farther, because you leverage your contractor instead of just going out on your own saying, hey, I'm going to fix it up myself, or I'm going to start finding other people. You already leverage somebody you knew. They're like, this guy's is an expert. And you bring something to the table. He brings something to the table. We can put it together, right? And then you went to Omaha, and then for those multifamily deals, well, the other one with your family member, right? You leverage the partnership with a family member to start doing deals together instead of just doing it on your own. So throughout your story, I could see that you were constantly looking for partnerships that you complement each other to do deals. So talking into syndications, I can see that your personality fits very well, right? Everything that you're saying here at the end, it truly makes sense. Nir, how can people find out more about you, start getting on your investor list, so they can start getting deals as you're putting them together, and hopefully going together in a syndication?
Yeah, I think the easiest, well, you can find me on LinkedIn. I'd love to at least connect. And so that's Nir Wittenberg, Nir. Wittenberg is Wittenberg. And you can even go to nirwittenberg.com, and that'll take you to my website. And there's some education on there, and some information, some good investor education. And I think those are the best two ways right now. But
cool.
Yeah. Or give me a call or text me, 720-244-3055.
Love it. We're gonna put we won't put your phone number, but we'll put the links to your LinkedIn on the show notes for people to access and connect with you. Unless you want me to put your phone number, we can put it out there. And Nir, it was awesome having you in the show. Really appreciate it. We'll have to bring you on again once you once you put a couple of deals together, so we can bring you back and then dissect those deals and talk about them.
Yeah, I'll be really excited to do that. Absolutely.
All right, Nir, thank you for coming on the show, man.
All right. Thank you, man.